Good day, fight fans. Thank you for tuning in to this week's podcast. As always, me and Will are grateful for you all tuning in. And do subscribe. If you're listening on SoundCloud or iTunes, give us a follow there. If you're on YouTube watching this, click that little button down below, give us a subscribe. We're nearly at the 100 mark as well, so awesome stuff. That's cool. Will, nearly getting to the big 100. I think we might try and maybe incorporate some prizes in time, you know, if we get to like certain little landmarks. I think that might be a good idea. We can get some signed fighter stuff and maybe give that as a giveaway. Maybe an idea for the fans listening. Their loyalty should be rewarded, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we could do some things where we hit 500, and if we ever get that close to 1,000, then we can always do something. But once we start picking up a little bit of steam, I know we're going to start getting... That's what happened with my YouTube channel. It just started, and eventually it just started steamrolling, snowballing, and then you get to where you want to, and then you exceed where you're going to go past eventually. So yeah, we can do some stuff in the future for sure.
Absolutely. And so this week we are going to talk about the UFC fight card that is happening down Australia. UFC 221, which is headlined by Rockhold and Romero.
See what we should do first. I think we should just talk a little bit about the last card. Talk about Dana White beating the shit out of Mario Yamasaki, because that Yamasaki, like, we had a little talk before we come on, and it was just some of the like it's really annoyed me. Like, I don't usually get annoyed with things too often, usually, but the Pesares incident with Desmond Green really ticked me off, and then everybody knew that Valentina was going to really be levels above this chick, but the Brazilian Federation still sanctioned this fight. The UFC matchmaker still put this fight together, and that, in my opinion, that is like really bad kind of due diligence on their part, because they knew that was going to happen. Now there's other fighters that Valentina could have faced in a flyweight debut. In saying that, there's a lot of really green fighters in that division. So, but there's people like I think it's Leslie Smith. She's down in there. There's somebody that's got a bit more experience. Roxanne Modafferi. Now she probably end up beating those girls up as well. But this girl is literally fought nobody's.
But she's got awful technique as well. Her punching technique is woeful. She's going to get murked by everyone else she faces, to be fair.
She looks powerful. I think if she hits you, you could go down, but I think there's no technique. Her chin's in the air. She's in trouble, like, big time. But and another thing that really annoyed me as well is her corner. How can if you're with that girl every day when she's in camp, prepping her, and then you let her take a beat down like that as well? Like, if I was, like, I'm sure that's kind of like a family mentality. The coaches and stuff you have, and everything's in that fight. And you've ever seen someone you care for getting hurt, like, especially like the teams in Brazil, because they're very close. And they're not as big as what the American ones are, and so on. So it's a lot closer. So it's just like the Pesares one really annoyed the life out of me, because I think I said last week, this guy on Instagram is huge, and he's not going to make weight. He clearly missed weight, didn't he try hard enough. Then he had the shit on Saturday where he has to weigh 171 and he weighs 183.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's no, like, you think missing the weight first time around, you'd maybe feel a bit bad. Now, I know you're giving some of your money to Desmond Green, that's fair enough. But then you've got to be a little bit of professional about it. The Federation says, look, you have to make this on fight day, and then you come up and you're a full stone heavier than what they're wanting. And Desmond Green took the fight. I think the UFC should give him a backhanded, like, paycheck, like one of those under the table bonuses for taking that shit, because it was an absolute shit show. Like, we don't usually go back and talk about the previous cards, but like I say, there was just a few things on that card which were mind fucks. They were complete mind fucks. The whole night it was pissing me off when those fights were taking place, and then it was just hopefully they learn. We don't see Mario Yamasaki again, because he is shocking, and he's got a track record of being really, really bad with it. And that girl, who knows what she's going to be like when she comes back, because
she's got a knee injury. She's got a serious knee injury as well, so we don't know the extent of that.
So, but it was just a bad look overall. But that was last week. We're moving on to 221 now.
Yeah, let's try and hopefully have some positivity going forward. Like you say, there was that I think it's all. I think Dana White was bang out of order for having to go Mario. Because I was like, you are the one who instigated the match, and you let that happen. If someone told me in the UFC they didn't watch any of her footage, I think they should be sacked. Because we said it on here. We said it last week. She was going to get absolutely annihilated, and it was beyond what we thought. But let's look to 221. We're going to go to that card in a moment. Also on the podcast, we'll do your bets, Will's bets. Will's on a winner this year so far. Whoop, whoop. And we'll also answer your questions as well. Okay, so starting down at the very bottom, literally, because down in Australia. First fight on the card now, obviously, unless this gets moved around. But we have Daichi Abe against Luke Jumi, or Jumo, or Jume. Will, I like this fight coming on. I have to admit, this fight's going to be a good one. Because I think Luke's a powerful dude. That guy can crack. All right. I think he's a fun fighter. He's got a good personality as well. I think he kind of fits the mold of a fun, enjoyable fighter. Kind of like a Gian Vellante, where I don't see him winning the title. I see him as a character in the UFC and a guy that will bring you a good fight. Now, his opponent, on the other hand, what's it called? A bit green. He's a bit green. That's the word. Abe, I still think he's very young in his career. Against Luke, I think I don't say it's a mismatch, but I think it's one that he's probably going to learn a lot from this fight. I think he performed well in his debut. He got himself a decision win, which not everyone can do. And as you know, UFC jitters kick in. People sometimes, get that adrenaline rush, and it drops in the second and the third round, and all that kind of happens. He performed well against Lim. He got himself a win, which I think will settle him down into this fight. But I think Luke's just that kind of hard-hitting dude that will put that kind of power and pressure onto him. I just don't know if Abe can handle that. And I think I see Luke really putting it on to Abe, especially after the first round. I think when both of them start to get a little bit more tired, I see Abe possibly getting a TKO finish here. Not a straight knockout, but because I think Abe's he's a tough cookie, but I definitely see probably a potential for a TKO finish here.
Yeah, it's close. Like, these matchups are really hard to when you watch the fights. It's hard to pick kind of between them, because Luke Jumo, when he went to UFC, I didn't really overly rate him all that much. I actually thought his win against Steele was decent. Comes back, he loses his next fight, and I think he's overall a solid fighter with like some pretty good technique. But anybody that has a little bit of wrestling and some fairly decent striking, like Anzai, he's not really known as a decent striker, but he hit him with some power shots that kind of stunned him. Daichi is a guy that I'm a young Yu Lim fan. I don't know why he always, and he's really not that good a fighter, but
I am a fan as well.
yeah, I think it's the Safadine fight. I think it stuck in my head where he was getting his leg kicked to oblivion, and he still kept going. And then the fifth round, he let that scream out, and he's throwing big shots. And but Daichi did what he was supposed to do. I thought he fought a really solid fight. I'm going to go with Daichi Abe in this one. But I think it's close. I think a lot of people will favour Luke Jumo. If it stays striking, then it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I expect Daichi to maybe try and put him against the cage and get a takedown. He's still very green in those aspects of his game, though, but I'm going to go Daichi via decision.
Yeah, that's why I just gave that kind of... It's like saying, when it gets close, I sometimes go for the experience than I do for youth. Sometimes I think the craftiness can get that advantage. Next up is a guy that we adore for his personality, Ishihara. Memories will come flooding back from Belfast when we were having a bit of shenanigans with him. But he's taken on Jose Quinones. I've got to admit, though, Will, for me, Ishihara, I went off him. I love him as a person, though, because he is a beautiful person. But give me your views on this matchup, bro.
He's just so hit or miss.
Yeah.
He's so hit or miss.
He's the new Andre Philly.
Yeah, that's true actually. When he's on, he's a really fun guy to watch. But sometimes he doesn't turn up, and he fights with really bad fight IQ. That Gray Maynard fight, he literally, I laid a lot of money down on him, so that's probably why I'm pissed off. But still, Gray Maynard, he knew that Gray Maynard's only chance to win that fight, he can't take a shot.
No.
So you unload on that guy and just don't get caught and get him to tie you up. And you beat this guy. He got taken down from the minute that fight started.
Every minute.
got laid on, something horrible. Then he fought Rolando D. D retired, came back, then lost again. Now he's against Teko. I like Teko. I think he's still like a green fighter, but I think he's finally starting to put it all together. He was a bit of a brawler before. I think since he went to Alliance, he's really started to mature. I think being around the solid fighters that they have in that camp have really kind of calmed him down a little bit, and he's picking his shots. He's mixing up his game. Coming on, I think it's 3 wins in the UFC.
Yeah, 3-fight win streak in the UFC. So he's not fighting the top level guys, but he's still getting 3 in a row.
Yeah, he's not facing good guys at all. And
no.
Like Diego Rivas is dangerous. Joey Gomez is now retired, and Chimmy Morales is a guy that is losing out on the. He got knocked out at the end of 2017 in the 3rd round as well. So he's an exciting fighter. I think he can go into I think he can fight 2 ways. He can brawl and he can also fight technical. But I think the Alliance kind of aspect of him with the coaches is really starting to come out. Be technical, pick the shots, mix it up, clinch, disengage, and do that. Ishihara's going to want to stand here and throw because he really anything else with his game's not there. So I like Teko to win a decision here and he's a guy I'm looking at kind of betting, but I might stay away. I've got 3 bets I'm going to make. I think I'll find a way I bet fights from now on. I've already got 2 bets and I've got 1 more which I'm looking at, but Teko is really, really interesting to me because I think the odds might be quite close-ish where a lot of people I think will unload him. I like Teko. It'd be pretty cool for Ishihara to win because he is just such a nice guy personally. Because even though he probably doesn't understand a lick of English you say to him, he's still smiling, he's still laughing.
He knows Tinder. He knows the word Tinder.
So he's just a cool guy. But I think if we are breaking down fights and looking at it here, I think that Teko's going to win this fight personally for me.
I have to say I'm with you on that because I go back to the Lobov fight in Belfast. Lobov is a brawler. Now Ishihara, like you say, likes to stand and bang, but suddenly when he got put up with a guy who was just known as a brawler, he didn't want any part of it. He likes to strike and stand and bang, but he likes it when a guy isn't going to be that overly keen to come back with it. You've got a guy, an opponent, who will do that. He will happily stand in the middle of the ring, tie a rope around his ankle, tie a rope around your ankle, and go, right, let's fucking do this. And he won't want to move more than there. So I think Ishihara, again, will fall into that trap of being a bit too cautious. Like you say in the Lobov fight, he just kept... It was almost like he was waiting to release something, but he never did. And he was just waiting for... He was almost waiting for that perfect moment that was never going to arrive. And that's what I think might happen here again. I think he might just get a bit too patient and wait too long, and Quino's just popping, just picking away at him. And if he does start to stand and bang and brawl, and I think that's when it starts, it'll start to spread. The fight will go a bit wider and a bit out of reach for him. But yeah, I'm going with you. Decision probably as well, because Ishihara, he is a tough cookie. Like that Gray Maynard fight, even though he got laid and preyed on, so to speak, he didn't stop trying to get up. He didn't he was still trying. He shows that he's still got the heart, and he will keep going for the 3 rounds. Yeah, so I'm with you on that one, bro. Next up is a fight I'm not overly bothered about in the slightest. I think the dude is super lucky to be in the UFC still. So you have Hirota against Pearson. Ross Pearson has been... He was he's a staple in the UK MMA scene. Set the tone, got in the UFC via Tough, wasn't it, off the top of my head? Yeah, it was Tough, yeah. Been around a long time. He's very much a 500 fighter, because he's the problem with my problem with Ross Pearson is he didn't change anything. He's the same guy from the first day to today. He is a brawler. He will stand and want to just go and bang at you, and it's like, dude, the sport has evolved. You need to evolve with it. and he doesn't, like, you never see him go for takedowns hard, never see him try to grapple for the submission. That isn't who he is, and I'm like, dude, you're in a wrong sport. Ross Pearce needs to go over to Glory. In my personal opinion, he should have went to Glory. He should have left the UFC and went to Glory and just fought in there and do K1 and boxing. Because that's what he wants to do. If that's what you want to do, fucking do that sport. This is MMA. If you want to do MMA, you need to learn it all and do it all. And I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening for Ross again. Hirota's not a guy who fights that regular either, though. That's the problem. You know, Hirota's a bit hit and miss with when he bothers to wants to fight. But I just see Hirota being able to get hold of Ross in some facet and get him down at some point. And I probably see like a decision here. I don't see it unless Ross can catch him and finish him. But I don't see Hirota wanting to stand and bang, kind of like, I don't see it like the Rick Story fight where there's the pair of them just banging out. I think Hirota's a kind of, I'll get you against the cage, hold you for a bit, and then try to get you down. And when Ross is on his back, he's just lost, bless him. But and especially when he gets in his guard, Ross just will sit in his guard and happily stay in it. He won't be fighting to get up enough. So, I'll probably go Hirota decision, but I haven't got much really thought on this fight. I'm not that arsed.
I'm going to pick Ross. I just think that Hirota, although he is, he's more of a clinch kind of guy. He wants to get his hands on you, and if he can put you against the cage and get takedowns, I think he'll win this fight. I think Ross, to his credit, when you look at his last 4 losses, Will Brooks, I think, has shown that he's not a top caliber fighter in the UFC.
No.
Masvidal, good guy. Stevie Ray's tough. Daniel Hooker is a big guy with a kind of different skill set, but this is his 24th fight in the UFC. That's a lot of fights against a lot of good guys as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Trinaldo, Felder, Dunham, Barboza, Iaquinta, Diego Sanchez. This guy's fought the who's who in his kind of, let's say, just in his tenure in the UFC.
I think he's moved down to Australia full time now. I think his missus is from there and they got the kid and that. And I think this might be his hurrah fight. He might off go to sunset after this.
He's got nothing else to prove. The longer he stays around the UFC, the more he's going to be. I just think it's a winnable fight for him. And I'm going to pick him, but I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be just a smelly looking fight from the get go. I expect him to kind of fight at a distance, pick his shots, mix it up in the feet a little bit, and then win the fight via decision. But I say it's not a fight I'm overly looking forward to watching.
No. I think it's like here you go, Ross. You can have one more on us and do your retirement, off you go. I love this next fight, bro. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you, but so for Miga against Nijim, ooh, man, I think this is a good fun fight, bro. What is your thoughts on this fight? How are you looking? If I look at the whole card, this is one of the fights I'm really looking forward to. Like, as in, I just think it's going to be a great technical kind of spout. But what are you looking forward to on this one?
I think it's a tough one to call because I've always been an admirer of Formiga because I think he's got a really good aspect. If you've got one thing that you're really dominant at, you've always got that to go to if you need to. And if he gets this to the ground, I think he can keep the win there. On the feet, I think Formiga's serviceable. I think he's decent, but I think Ben the Win's the more exciting fighter. On the feet, he's more explosive. I think he's a little bit faster. I think he can stop the takedowns, but it's a tough one for me to pick him. Honestly, I'm a wee bit iffy with this one. I think I'm going to go Ben the Win. I think if he can initially stop the takedowns of Formiga, I think he wins the fight. But it's a real. I'm not confident in that pick at all. By the way, I just think that
it's hard.
If he stops the takedown and he doesn't get controlled, then I think he could put the hands on Formiga a little bit. But I mean, I think Formiga's one of the most underrated guys in that whole division. Personally, I've always thought that, and people don't talk about him when they talk about the kind of flyweights. I think that him against DJ would be a good fight because.
Well, it would have been if he didn't lose to Borg, remember? Because it was Ray Borg and him, wasn't it? And he was like. He just kept, because he didn't lose to Benavidez as well a little while back. I think I've told me.
Cejudo.
Cejudo, sorry.
And I think it was way back that he lost to Benavidez, like in
but like you think he's always beating the guys outside of that title shot, and you're like, damn it, he's just, please don't be one of them guys, because he, like you say, he is a phenomenal talent.
If you look at the people that he's lost to, like, they're literally probably three of the best flyweights outside Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you look at if I'm looking at the top 5 flyweights of all time in the UFC, it goes DJ, it goes Cejudo, Dodson, Benavidez, and then for me it's Formiga. I think Formiga is number 5. You could maybe say some other people in there, but I think I put Formiga in the top 5 flyweights that we've had in the UFC. He's only lost to the best guys. Yeah. And Ray Borg is a guy who I think is going to be around a long time. He's going to win a lot of fights. He's going to beat good fighters.
Yeah.
I just fancy him a little bit more than Ben to win here, but it's close.
It is, and that's what I love about it. I think what really helped Ben come out of the spotlight was that submission of Tim Elliott. Mm-hmm. You know, it was one of them ones where he's had a submission victory before, but getting a finish in the flyweight division is always big. So getting that victory over Tim Elliott was just like, pow. He's like, right, I'm here now. I'm ready to go up against these top cats, and that's going to be a lot of confidence going in. But I think for me, I go with Formiga because I just can't let go of how he's that shy of a title fight, and I think he's that good. I rate him so good, like you as well.
Yeah.
I think Ben, even though Ben's very experienced, gee whiz, like Ben's had a lot of goddamn fights in like for himself, but Formiga's just, I just think he's just a little bit, it's like a little bit level. There's levels, as we all know, and I think Formiga's just a little bit higher than Ben's. Again, I think this might come down to Ben potentially catching Formiga on a takedown, if it's going to be a stoppage. But I think Formiga's got a bit of a know-how upstairs to stop this fight from happening like that. So I'm going to go with Formiga on this one, but it's like I'm talking like 52-48 because it's horrible. It's horrible. I hate it. Like, I wouldn't put money on it. Fuck that. Maybe like over 2.5 rounds. That's about it. Okay, so Jeremy Kennedy. Spit that out, John. Jeremy Kennedy. That's better. Alex Volkanovski. Again, as a fight that I think is a potential fight of the night contender. I think these two guys are very talented guys. I think it's a fight that's probably going to get overlooked when you look at the whole card. I think it's one of them fights that isn't really talked about. The two guys are not talked about that much on social media anyway, from what I've seen. But I think it's one of them fights that will catch people's eye when it happens. I think Volkanovski is a very good fighter. I just feel that he's obviously still growing. He's still relatively young in the sport, so to speak. He's not young in age, but he's young in the sport. But Volkanovski's he's a workhorse, man. That dude he's got a hell of a gas tank on him. Jeremy Kennedy is a guy who I like in the sense of he's went to decisions as well, which is always good. The pair of them go 3 rounds, so I think you'll see a fight because this is all going to be about almost a battle of the underhooks. I feel there's going to be a lot of cage work, and this is the battle of the underhooks bout. But I say fight of the night because I can see it potentially breaking on the clinch, the pair of them, and going for strikes on each other, and then shooting back in, and that's when it can start to light up each other. Because as soon as one gets caught, he wants to get one back. It's almost like the fight before, but I'm going to go with Volkanovski. I just feel like he's got a higher work rate, and I think he can just win that battle of the unhooks game, which is, people don't realise at home, it's fucking huge. But yeah, go on then. I'll go Volkanovski. Yeah, it's a hard one. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it's who can establish a takedown. I think this is what both these guys strive for. Yeah. Like even Jeremy Kennedy on the regional scene, he wasn't really stopping all that many guys.
No.
He was going to decision with some of those guys. So you can tell what his game is to control the fight, just be in the dominant positions. I just think Volkanovski is quicker. I think he's stronger, and I think he's more athletic, and I think that's going to help him in this fight. He struggled to take down his last opponent, and that was a short notice fight. That's Shane, what was his name? Shane Young. Yeah, Shane Young, who was a guy dropping down he was a heavier guy, and he struggled to get him down. So maybe that's why. But eventually he got there, he persevered, and he got the takedowns. This, like you said, the underhooks is going to be a massive thing. Who can control it? Because it's going to go against the cage, I believe.
Yeah.
I think striking, I give to Volkanovski. But I think he's going to get takedowns. I think he's going to win rounds through that. But it's a close fight. I just think Volkanovski is better at this point in his career. So I'm going to go with Volkanovski via a 29-28. Maybe Jeremy Kennedy will get a round out of it.
Yeah, because you might get the first round, then after that it starts to Volkanovski just pulls it apart. That's what I mean. It's tight. But next up is a very exciting potential middleweight prospect making his debut. Is the best way to describe it, because we don't quite know how good he could be, because at the moment, from his record outside the UFC, he's not fought powerful, dominant middleweights. Like Melvin Gillard is not a middleweight. I'm just putting it out there, ladies and gentlemen. Not a middleweight at all, Melvin. No, you're a fat 155er, is what we call it. But Israel Adesanya against Rob Wilkinson. I'm not writing Rob Wilkinson off. I don't want to. I'm not writing him off at all. He's a very good fighter in his own right. I can't deny that. I'm just super looking forward to what we can get from this man in Israel. I think he's got, like you say, all his 11 wins are via stoppage, like not knockout, not submission. Sorry, he's like punching the shit out of you, kicking the shit out of you, beating the crap out of you. So the dude's full of violence. So we know what we're going to get with that. My only worry is, I'm like, dude, So obviously he throws heavy, he throws hard. Now, is Wilkinson going to be smart and weather the storm, be out of range, grapple with him, just tire him out a little bit in the first round, then get to the second round where that pop has gone a little bit? Are we going to see that? Because we see that before with a lot of guys who are powerful in the first round, but it tapers off. Now you've got to think Israel's going to have that adrenaline pumping through. He'll want to put on a show. Could he blow out in the first round? That's the only thing I come into this fight and worry about. But I think because Wilkinson's been stopped in his fight against, what's that Afghanistan's dude name? Fucking hell, it's a mouthful, in it. Sayar. We'll just call him Sayar, yeah. We'll call him Sayar the Afghan, because I can't say his surname. I'm going to go with Israel. I got a potential here for a good, promising middleweight, and entertaining middleweight, really. I'm going to go him stoppage. First round. Fuck it, let's go wild, Will. Let's go wild.
Yeah, when I heard he got signed to the UFC, I thought that's a good bit of business for the UFC. He's a guy that he loves combat sports. He's been in Glory. He's got a kickboxing record 65-4. He's got a 5-1 record as a pro boxer. So the guy just loves the striking aspect. And in some of his fights, you see him grappling as well, he will engage with people on the ground. Now, it's probably against lesser talent than what he's going to face in the UFC. So predominantly, this guy is going to want to stay on his feet. This guy is a master in the dead space. And he's long. He's very long. The one thing that I've seen that I think he's going to give people trouble with is just like his quickness of his kicks. I think he's going to take some people's livers away fairly easily. But the guys he was fighting on the regional scene aren't good fighters. Melvin Gillard is just lazy now. He's taking fights anywhere in the world for a bit of cash.
Bare knuckle as well, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, but the one thing that I didn't like about that fight with Melvin is that he got his back taken by Melvin. That's something. If Melvin Gillard's taking your back, you have to be very careful with other guys, especially bigger guys who be better wrestlers, because Gillard's not a good wrestler at all.
No.
But he's got some vicious striking. I think Wilkinson's going to want to try and he's going to want to clinch. He doesn't want to trade strikes with this guy. So I think that Adesanya's going to catch him with a liver kick and put him down. I'm looking forward to seeing the style bender, as he calls himself, which is a bit weird, the style bender. But still, I think I'll take him via first round TKO in this one as well.
And main event for the prelims we have is Damian Brown against Dong Hum Kim. 155 barn burner. What are you looking forward to in this, bro?
Good fight. Damian Brown's always in good fights. all the time. He throws a lot. He gets hit a lot. You always see him bleeding in fights, pretty much. Coming off that great fight with Frank Camacho, and Dong Young Kim's been in fights before as well, in scraps.
Yeah.
So if this is why this is the top fight in the prelims. There's a reason why it's there, because the UFC expects these guys to possibly go at it. I think that Dong Young Kim can mix in takedowns actually, but he has big power, and I think he could catch. Now I know he knocked out Takanori Gomi, who is a shell of himself, but I'm not. I think I'm going to go Damian Brown actually. I think he got kind of robbed. I'm not going to say that because I hate when people say that. It was a very close fight against Frank Camacho, and when I watch it back, I actually thought when I watched it live that was Camacho, and then when I watched it again, I thought, oh, Damian Brown should have maybe won that fight. I'm going to go Damian Brown. I think it'll be an all-action fight. I think it'll be back and forth. This is probably my fight of the night. I think this could easily win 50k here for both guys, but I'm going to go Damian Brown via decision. I think it's going to be an all-action 15 minutes. So
I was about to say decision is in my head as well, and I think they're going to beat each other so much that you'll see like the third round where they're just tired, and it's like they're hitting each other, but you know they're not going to go to sleep because they're just too tired to knock each other out, if that makes sense, because they've already knocked all the effort out. But I'm with you. I see the pair of them with red faces just knocking 7 bells out of each other, and all I'm saying is enjoy the violence, people. I see Damian Brown taking it as well, because that dude can take a goddamn punch, and that dude keeps coming and swinging. It's a fucking scary sight. But I like him as well. He's a cool dude, actually. And I think that Damian Brown, for me, again, decision win. He's just, I think Damian Brown is he's like a new modern day Diego Sanchez. Just fucking bite down and fight, bro. So main card time. Yep, this is a pay-per-view card. So 221, 221 and 222. They've got some work to do. Okay. 223, thankfully, kind of makes up for these next two cards, doesn't it, I think? But, so we've got Tyson Pedro. So, Young Buck. And I'm glad that he's back on the card, back swinging again. Against Savarvov. If you want to say it like that. Yeah, Shabarov. Right, so first he's got OV in his surname, so that means he's tough as coffin nails. Alright, so anyone with OV in their name means they're scary motherfuckers who probably murdered someone. Again, Russian dude, tough guys. But he lost to Gian Vellante, which means, wow, Gian Vellante beat someone, which is... it's not often you see that he stops someone as well. So Gian Vellante, of course, top 15 light heavyweight dude. He's a killer prospect. But Pedro is a promising kid. He just showed against Latifi that it was too early for him to be up there. And the good thing about the light heavyweight division is there is clear gaps. You've got your elite guys. You've got your kind of Jimmy Manowars and Latifi's guys, and then you've got everyone else. And that is exactly where that light heavyweight division is. And it's so clear, it's obscene. And there's only like a few to the elites, and there's a few in the middle, and then it's everyone else. Pedro's everyone else, and he just needs a few more fights to get up to that Manowar, Latifi kind of realm. Then he goes up to the elites. I think Pedro's got all the potential of it. He just needs a bit more time. I think it's... he's fucked in a way because he's in the light heavyweight division and there's not a lot to do. Like a couple of wins and you almost get a title fight in that division at the moment, the way it's looking. And I feel a bit worried. I think he needs to be slowly tapered up, like at least 3 more fights. You think 3 more fights is potentially 1 year? 1 year training, developing, growing, learning more. I'm going to go with Pedro anyway because I think he hits hard, really hard, and I think he'll put a hurting on the Russian. So I'm going to go with Pedro. Stoppage at some point.
Yeah. I think it's a good fight for Pedro. I think the first round, he just needs to be careful and not get hit because Safarov comes out and throws big, heavy leather. He's very wild. He's very.
Yeah.
He's not technical whatsoever. He swings and windmill shots really badly. And he did that in the fight with Gian Vellante, and he hit Vellante with some massive shots as well. I just think that Pedro is one of those guys that he's all right everywhere, but I think he's got a very good bottom game where he can establish his top game and his pressure. Now, Safarov, he is from the Dagestani kind of Russian area, so you have to expect he's going to be decent in like some aspects of that game. I just think that Tyson Pedro's actually more of a threat on the ground. I think he can get takedowns, and I think he'll just win the fight from there. So I think I'm going to go a third round submission for Tyson Pedro.
Ooh, like it. Those would be good odds. So next up, we have a fight which I think you and I both admit is probably a mismatch in the welterweight division. Should not be happening at all. But this guy should be fighting a higher level of caliber in the welterweight divisions. Jingalang is kicking ass at the moment, and he gets to fight Jake Matthews, who did not look impressive in his welterweight debut. Man, what are you going to think on this one, bro?
This was when this fight got made, I was really surprised. Now I know they're going to Australia. Jake Matthews is the only place he will be a name is in Australia. But I was expecting, I was expecting Li Jingliang to maybe get himself a shot, a crack at somebody in the top 15, if not just outside it. Jake Matthews, I don't think he should have won that fight against Bojan. I thought he looked like the kid is young, but he looks shop worn at the age. He's like 23, but he looks. I think he's had a lot of surgeries on his hips, which is weird. I just think that Lee is. He's a fun fighter. He's got heavy power. He does get hit a lot as well. He goes down, but he gets back up. He's a strong dude. I just think he's going to be too much for Jake Matthews. I think that ultimately this is going to take place on the feet a lot more, and I think that Lee is the bigger power, and it lasts through the fight as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of hoping that if it goes to decision that the right guy wins. But I can see Lee potentially knocking him out, and that's what I'm hoping for because Lee is one of my favourite picks in this card. But Lee, in my opinion, deserves a better quality opponent than what he's getting here. And honestly, if Jake Matthews loses this fight, I think the UFC should cut him. Now I know they're going back to Australia later on in the year, and he's an easy guy to throw in that card. But he's still so young that you could send him out there, other organisations, and he could win fights, and then you bring him back in a year or two, and he's in the 26, 27 years old. I'm going to pick Li Jingliang. I think anyway he kind of wants to win the fight by knockout or decision. I think it's going to go decision because Matthews is a tough kid as well.
I would like Jake Matthews to actually, because every time he's been off from not fighting, it's because of injuries. So he's pretty much injured, recovering from injury, training camp. I'd like him to have a year off and just train. So he conditions himself to be a 170 fighter. So he wasn't gassing like he was last time. So he gets used to carrying that extra weight. And then he's also learning and developing some skills, not taking any heavy strikes or any, fights, just letting his body kind of grow, mature, evolve, his brain rests, and then getting back in. I think the problem he's had is, because like you say, he's so young, he's basically been injured, then he recovers, and then he fights. Injured, recover, fights. He's not getting lessons in developing and growing his style and fight game and anything like that. But Lee, on the other hand, keeps growing. Fair enough, he's getting hit. I think he's slowly starting to try and work out that, some head movement incorporation, a bit more footwork to get that reduction down. But he's facing a guy who's not going to be too dangerous in that aspect. And I think Jake knows he's got to go for the grapple, get him against the cage, hold him. But I think he'll run it into Lee's hands, and that's going to be sore. I think Lee's going to stop him. Legit see him stopping him. I think second round onwards, I think Jake would just falter apart, and you'll go see Lee just not necessarily knock him out, but maybe just knock him down and just beat the shit out of him after on the ground. TKO, just a flurry of punches. Next up, bro, we have is Cyril Asker against Tuivasa. I think this is set up for Tuivasa to win. I think the UFC see potential in him. I see potential in him too, because he's a guy who's not got... he hasn't got any cardio. I'll rephrase. He hasn't got any cardio. He doesn't know what cardio... He doesn't do much cardio. Because I've watched his fights on the regional scene. But the dude doesn't need it, because he's kind of got that weird Mark Hunt, freakish one-punch, natural power. Like, that dude hits you and it's like the fucking earth is just pow. Like, he doesn't even do much to hit people. Like, he just like, he hardly touches them and he go down. Obviously, because he's carrying like 260 pounds and it's still falling through. But man, Asker is not a big heavyweight, and Tuivasa is a big heavyweight. Power is going to be the killer. Like, Asker's got to basically avoid getting hit for 3 rounds. Ain't going to happen. He's going to get hit and he's going to go to sleep. I've got Tuivasa knocking him out probably in the first round, if I'm brutally honest with you.
No, I'm with you there. I think the two of us set up fight. I think that sometimes they'll set up fights for certain fighters. We saw it last night with Polyana Viana. I thought that was a fight clearly to get her on there. With Borrachina when he fought Gareth McClellan. This is the same. If people are buying the pay-per-view, which might not be that many, but Tuivasa is a guy that obviously the UFC want to do well. They're giving him a match up here. And still Alaska, I mean, he fought a guy that was 2-0. Do you know in his last fight?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be in the UFC. I know it was on a week's notice.
Yeah.
Somebody fell out. James Mohern, I think, popped for something. But
he's now suspended for a year.
Yeah, Tuivasa, he's athletic for a big dude. Like, you don't see too many guys with big flying knee knockouts.
No.
Like you say, I think he's got a lot of work to do in his ground game. If Asker can establish top position, he could be in some deep doo-doo in this one. I don't guess. I think he's going to find the chin of Alaska and he's going to put him down. Actually, just earlier on when I had a bit of time, he does a podcast with Tyson Pedro called the Halfcast Podcast, which is actually funny. So it's actually listen to it and it's like pretty much them two just ripping the shit out of one another, talking about fights and stuff. And he's married to Tyson's sister as well. So I think Tuivasa, I like him in this. So I think he's going to knock him out in the first.
Yeah. Next up we have Curtis Blades against Mark Hunt. It's a big fight in the heavyweight division, so to speak. You know, outside of like kind of the title contention, because you got Stipe DC fighting. So it's all about who's trying to line himself up for a title shot after, pretty much. This one kind of gets the ball rolling for both parties. So how do you see this one going down?
I'm struggling with this one. And I'm not sure where to go, what side to kind of plant my flag on and go. I can see the potential, and it's a guy in Blades that I really liked before he went to the UFC. I like that he's a big athletic dude.
Yeah.
He's establishing his striking, his grappling's always going to be there. And he's faced really good opponents in his UFC kind of run. This is another step up. I know he fought Ngannou early in his career, in the UFC career, but Mark Hunt is established. He's fought the who's who, everybody that there is to fight this guy's fought. Lost, he's won. He's one of those guys that doesn't give a shit if he wins or he loses his record or whatever. He just wants to get in there, give a fight and scrap.
Yeah.
When it comes to him fighting down under, this guy doesn't give up losing all that way. Like Miocic went down and absolutely ruined him. This is, I think, and I've seen people say this, that Mark Hunt, he's not going to care because he's got the ongoing proceedings with the UFC. I don't believe that in the slightest. He's going to have friends and family.
Yeah.
I think that Mark Hunt is going to knock out Curtis Blades, and I'm a little. My gut feeling when this fight came out was like, well, I like Curtis Blades in this one. But I think that Mark Hunt, if he can stop a takedown and not get kind of held on to it, I think he can find Curtis Blades' chin and potentially put a bit of a hurting on him. I actually don't think he will knock him out though, but I think he's going to scare him enough where Curtis Blades is going to be hesitant to come forward and kind of exchange with Mark Hunt. And I see Mark Hunt winning the decision in this one, which is a little bit out there because he usually wins by fights or he gets taken out. But I think, I'm sitting here thinking, I think I'm making the wrong decision. Go with your gut feeling, which is one of the things I've said to myself stick with your initial gut feeling. Just got a feeling Mark Hunt's going to pull it off.
I'm 100% with you, and I think because he's in his hometown, so his hometown, so his home country, way different circumstances. If they were fighting in the US, you could kind of... But what people don't get is, it's that travel from the States to the Australia. It fucks people up. Luke Rockhold has already went over he went on Friday or something like that. He broke up his flights. It's a long trip, people. So it's horrible on the body. Curtis Blade's got to obviously get over there, accumulate to the time difference and all this stuff, get himself ready. He's fighting Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, you can see his flabs. He calls them flabs, which is a fucking great name for his abs. He looks in good shape. He's training with all the boys, Tui Vasa, all the boys, Pedro. He's got a great kind of... He'll have a great momentum and a great kind of feeling with the whole crew that he's got going down. I like Curtis Blades. Look, he didn't even get stopped by Ngannou. He was a referee stoppage because the doctor said his eyes closed and he couldn't see. And Curtis Blades yo, I'm good, let's keep going. Curtis Blades was doing okay in that fight. Do you know what I mean? He got hit and his eyes swelled, but he was doing okay. He was doing all right for himself. I think that people underestimate Mark Hunt's range. Mark Hunt has got fantastic measurement on range. He knows when you're there. He knocked out Stefan Struve, who's 16 foot taller than him. Do you know what I mean? He's got very good knowledge on how close he is and when he can hit you and when he can't. And I think that people get underestimated. I think this is what catch Curtis Blades out. That's what will catch Curtis. Curtis will think he's maybe just a little bit out or just hit, and then Mark Hunt will land that hand. I'd like to see Mark Hunt actually throw way more leg kicks, because those legs on Mark Hunt are fucking massive. Oh my god. 2 of them, you imagine 3 of them leg kicks landing on your calf. You know those big calf kicks that are coming out now? It would be a game changer. Mark Hunt can probably win the title by just doing leg calf kicks. You know what I mean? He'd be well, I can take a punch, so I'll just calf kick you, and he'd win the title. But, yeah. Mark Hunt as well, I think he'll stop it. I wouldn't be surprised if he catches Curtis in the first round, just because Curtis is overzealous maybe and just doesn't quite get that range quick enough. Main event though, Luke Rockhold against Yoel Romero. Michael, I love you! For the interim middleweight title. Fucking hell, I hate that word. But the only thing I am happy about is the UFC 223 poster. It says the lightweight title. They've taken away the interim, which obviously means they've stripped Conor of it. So I'm happy there's one less interim title. And I'm hoping that, I hope by July as well, Robert Whittaker is fully back to health. Might put him on the international fight card, if I'm honest with you. If I'm the UFC, I'll try to plan for that. But so anyway, let's look towards Rockhold Romero. Interesting bout. You've got Romero who lost to Rob Whittaker, and Rob Whittaker just showed you can stop his takedowns, you can get back up. Luke Rockhold likes to throw his kicks, which means you're open to the takedowns. He throws them hard, so obviously you have to be wary of them. But you're Romero, so gangster. I could see him just shooting in for those when those kicks come up. Is Father Time going to catch up with your Romero? Because let's not forget, he's not getting any younger, even though he's got the body of a freak. I wouldn't mind his body, put some of his genes in my DNA. But yeah, Rockhold, I always get worried that he's a bit too cocky in fights. But I think what happened was with Bisping, it kind of gave him a reality check and kind of straightened him out a little bit, if that makes sense. He kind of went, I need to stop being so cocksure of myself. He's still got that arrogance. It's like that Diaz kind of cockiness, if that makes sense. I don't give a fuck, let's do this. But the problem is, I don't know if I can see Rockhold getting on top of Romero, because Rockhold's got one of the best top games I've seen. End of. He is one scary freak. But on the feet, man, he outclasses Romero all day on the feet. He won't... You're not going to see Rockhold shooting for a takedown. He's just going to be happy to stand, and he's got great range. He'll keep him long, keep him at distance with the kicks. I'm going to go with Rockhold, because I think what the problem you've got with your Romero is, Rockhold's got excellent jits. His grappling is fantastic. He doesn't need to use it all the time, but he's got some fantastic jiu-jitsu. That transition against Tim Boach was one of the best moves I've seen in MMA. When Boach went in for that takedown, it was phenomenal. But yeah, I'm going to go with Luke Rockhold on this one. I do see him actually getting this and then setting up a fantastic bout between Rockhold and Whittaker, which I can't wait to see that happen.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Yoel Romero. I think that Yoel Romero is the scariest guy in that division, bar none. I think you saw the respect that Robert Whittaker gave him in that fight, and that was a tough fight. That's the kind of fights you go back, as I'm sure Robert Whittaker does that, and he realizes just what he'd done in that fight and how much he put into that fight to win it. But I think, the overall best fight in that division is Robert Whittaker. I think he puts it all together well. When you look at Yoel Romero, he's got that wrestling. We never really see it. You're not going to put this guy in his back. I very much doubt it. Explosive striking. The guy can be doing nothing and then explodes out of nowhere with some flying knee or a massive strike. You cannot let your guard down with this guy in the slightest. And he gets late finishes as well. So a majority of his wins are through third round TKOs and so on. Luke Rockhold, unbelievable kicking game, unbelievable top control, great jiu-jitsu, just a heavy dude on there. Kind of interesting that he's been at Henry Hoof's gym. Something's been going on with Luke Rockhold. He hasn't been out in California. So something's been going on. I don't think that's the camp. I think he had to be at AKA for this fight camp. I think he had to be in there with DC, and he had to be in there, just his normal gym. So something's obviously happened. But it's like one of those fights you look at. I'm looking at it by what you all can do and what Rockhold can do. Great kicking game with a really good top control on top. He's probably the best guy at it, being honest. Yoel's got that wrestling when he wants to use it. He doesn't really use it. Big, powerful strikes. I just think it's a scary, scary athletic freak. And I just see it. It's hard. I find that a wee bit hard just to pick because I just think Yoel doesn't really use his wrestling to that much. Now, the guy's great at it, but he doesn't overly use it. And Robert Whittaker, I think the times that he did get him down, he popped back up, which surprised me. And it shouldn't, because
it doesn't keep people down.
Yeah, he doesn't keep people down. But he has some heavy ground and pound. You saw at the Brunson fight when he does get it. But I just got a feeling that he's going to, like you said, with Rockhold being cocky, he might want to engage, or he gets too comfortable on the feet, and then out of nowhere, Yoel Romero just hits him with something stupid, like a massive flying knee or a big kick or a massive punch, and puts him down. So I'm going to go with Yoel Romero as I feel a good chance to not let Rockhold out personally. I think he's got, if he can just stay composed, keeping the fight, because I can see Rockhold taking the first couple of rounds, like doing more than what Yoel can do. But I would
Yoel, man, he gasses like, whoo.
Yeah.
See, that explosive movements catches up on you. Like you saw in the Whittaker fight, he was hanging out of his ass in that fourth and fifth round. That fifth round, he was like, fucking kill me now. Like, he was gone.
Yeah, it's true, but he's still dangerous.
Yeah.
He's still super dangerous. So, initially, I was pretty high on Romero. I've kind of tailed back a little bit. But I'm still going to go with my gut feeling on this one. I'm going to pick Yoel Romero via TKO in round number 3. I think I'm going to go with, and him to go into face Whittaker in the rematch. But it's a tough fight to pick.
It is. It's a fantastic fight to happen, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, I cannot wait. Okay, so we're going to go to Will's bets. Right, Will. Not all of the odds are out for all the fights yet. It's weird, like, some cards we have them by now, some cards we don't. It's fucked up. Whatever. But, Will, you said before you've done a couple of bets. What's going on? Tell the people at home, or advise us on what potentially we should be looking for and what we should be doing, maybe.
Well, my 2 bets, I'm going to have 3 for this card, and it's kind of what I've stuck to the start of the year. I've had a really good start. I had every event this year I've won money on, and I've won more bets than I've lost. I've only lost like 1 bet each card except for the first one where I got all my bets right. So I've went 2-1 for the last 3 cards. So and ultimately that ends up making you money. So I have Li Jingliang. He opened at -120, which is close to a pick'em against Jake fucking Matthews. It made no sense to me when I saw that line. It was crazy to me. There was like a group of 3 or 4 fights that were released 3 weeks ago for this fight card, and they were all odds that I thought were very playable. But that Li Jingliang one stuck it like a sore thumb. I jumped on it straight away, put my money down on it, and the one that I made earlier on this week or last week, whenever it was, is a parlay accumulator between Chuy Vasa and Tyson Pedro. So the step brothers, pretty much, or the half brothers now, brothers-in-law, whatever it is. And I've got that for plus money as well. And obviously, the other one that I'm thinking about going with is Yoel Romero, who's went from a heavy favourite to an underdog. So the public are obviously on Luke Rockhold in this one, and sometimes I like to go against the public.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm going with that. The line is, I think, plus 125.
Yeah, it's 125 at the moment for Romero. Yeah, so, and Rockhold is plus 135.
Right, so he's minus. Is he minus 135? Minus.
No, minus 135.
Apologies. Yeah, it's late at night, so heads in the upper arse. But I'm going to go against the public. I think who are obviously betting Rockhold. I'm going to go with Romero, but I'm going to see if the line comes down, then I'll probably not bet it. If it goes up, you can guarantee I'm going to put that bet on. Like for yesterday's bets, for the last cards, I had Davidson Figueiredo to start off, and then I had Polyana Viana with Santos, and then I added a bet which I really shouldn't have made. And that was yesterday. I made that, and Saturday I made that bet was Eric Anders and Pesares Green over 2.5. Pesares Green ultimately got to 2.5, over 2.5. But Anders just got gun shy and didn't throw that much against Machida. But for some reason, I just wanted a part of Eric Anders because he had all the aspects of winning that fight. So you've got to look at. I looked at that. If I can, what I saw was if I hit Figueiredo, the Figueiredo bet was huge to start off with, because then I knew that if I lost the parlay between Polyana Viana and Santos, I still had the Eric Anders bet to give me a profitable night, and that's kind of where I'm going with this one here. So 3 bets I'm looking at. Li Jingliang, I'm already on him. Tyson Pedro and Chuy Vasa, I'm on him. And it looks like I'll be on Yoel Romero as well.
So any fight out. So you got, for example, Mark Hunt is plus 140 at the moment.
Yeah. I've seen there's some people on Twitter that are decent bettors, very good bettors, I should say, that are on Curtis Blades pretty heavy. I can see why, because if he establishes a grappling game in this fight, he more than likely wins. But I kind of see it going another way. I'm kind of going against them guys a little bit. And Mark Hunt is tough to fight down under, plain and simple. So that line might go up a little bit, or it might go down. I think it'll start to go down closer to the fights, but I don't think it's a bad bet to make.
No, not at all. I 100% agree. I'm just trying to think outside the box, so to speak, with a couple of fights. So I thought I'd just ping that out there. All right, so now we're going to go to your questions, people. So the questions we have this week are, all right, so Adam, on Twitter these are tweet ones. So Adam Sean has posted, do you know what, they've been gentle this week, Will. I think that I was, as soon as I posted it, I always kind of sit inside and go, I think I've died a little bit because I'm worried about what they'll send. But we've been all right. They've been good souls to us this time. So Adam starts with London's pish, which translated means piss. But which card would you say is the most stacked ever from top to bottom? Now that's a fucking tough one, that. Because obviously we're going to go off what we know at present. And 223 is looking redonkulous at the moment. You know, it's getting better every week almost, every time they announce a fight on that card. But we've had some fantastic fight cards in the past. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at, like, UFC 200 almost was a great fight card, but UFC 100 had some good fights on there. There's been 199 ended up being a fantastic fight card itself. You know, on paper it wasn't, but it ended up, I think that 199 was way better than 200 on performance and fights, etc. So it's not an easy one, Will, but what would you look at yourself? Is there any particular ones that stick out to you?
I might have a little bit of bias for this one, but UFC 189 I thought was a really when you go back and look at that card, I'll have a look right now at it. It had the big, if Aldo and McGregor were on that fight card, that card could have been incredible. But you had McDonald against Lawler, you had Stevens against Bermudez, which is a great fight. You had obviously Almeida on there. You had Matt Brown against Tim Means. You had Cody Garbrandt on the undercard. So yeah, that was a fight card I really liked personally. I thought that was it UFC? What was the first New York card? 205.
205, yeah.
I thought UFC 205 was a very stiff card. They had the 3 title fights. They had the really good fighters like they had Romero and Weidman. So
yeah,
I'm biased. I'm going to say 189. I just thought I can never get that main card out of my head. And we had fun fights like Syria against Smoker was a fight I really enjoyed. So I'm being a little bit kind of skeptical, a little bit biased. Sorry, with that fight card.
Yeah, that's what I loved 199 and I liked it. I like that card, but it's just there's so many different fight cards about. It's insane. Some of them, like, it's hard to say the best act ever because do you go on name value or are you talking about performance and fights results? You know, because I'd tell you people, name value does not mean it's going to be a great card because sometimes just cancel each other out. So another question here, Adam asked 3 in total. So does Mario Yamasaki salary increase per second of cage time? So lets the fight go on as long as he can. I think he might be on. He might put a bet on himself and go, "Oh no, it's going too quick! It's going too quick! I'd bet a bit longer than this." Try to let it go as best he could.
What I think with that is that he picked Shevchenko for DraftKings. Yeah. And he wanted as much points as possible. So
that's you're right. I think he must have. I would have got a lot. Did you pick? Did you pick a Will?
I had Shevchenko in a few teams, yeah. So I wasn't really fine with it because at the end of the day, I'd rather lose money over someone's like absolute head getting beaten in. Yeah. But it was weird. It's just like the first minute into that fight, it should have been stopped. Well, maybe not first minute. First minute, you knew the fight was not going to go anywhere from where it was on the ground, and she was just going to get butchered, and that's what happened. It's just Yamasaki's a bell-end, so he's a bell-end.
And last question here is, I love Brazilians, but is there a hometown decision bias? Now, we discussed this before. There actually wasn't. It was weird. It was like the Americans turned to Brazilians, and it was a weird one. Like they used to be, though. Let's be honest. You and I both know Brazil was renowned that if you went to Brazil and there was a decision, even if you beat the snot out of your opponent, that they would somehow score it for the Brazilian. And I think what happened was everyone started cotton on, and then the commissions were like, we can't do this any longer. And it somehow got cleaned up. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't see that being it that way, Will, do you?
I think it's a bit of a myth now. I think to start off with originally, they were close fights, but obviously the Brazilians were just kind of getting the edge in them. But like last night, I think the 2 fights, the Means fight and the main event, the American judges gave it to the Brazilian, and the Brazilian gave it to the American. So it's like, I think in certain aspects there's definitely bias, but I don't think it's as prevalent. I think nowadays as it was a few years ago.
It's bonkers. Another question here, Will, from Fraser Smith. His Twitter handle is @Fraz, that's FRAZS 1886. So, gosh, he's an old bastard being on Twitter, but good on him, being all hippity hop. Thoughts on TJ not wanting the Cody rematch now, and do you think Jimmy Rivera should get to fight Cody next? Now, people at home who won't know or maybe not somehow know about this going down, Max Holloway is out of the fight against Frankie Edgar at UFC 222. the UFC were like, oh boy, we've messed up and not put a backup championship fight on here. They tried to reach out to Cody and TJ Dillashaw to rematch, to save the card, so to speak. And Cody said, I'm in, let's do it. Of course you would. You want to get revenge back. But TJ said, not happening. No, I want Demetrius Johnson. And he actually also said, he made a very valid point from my point of view. He said, look, I lost a decision to Dominic Cruz. Like, decision. Like, TJ didn't get knocked out. Cody got knocked out. I lost a decision, and I had to wait 2 years before I get my title shot back. So, that Cody has to go and work his ass off to get back to a title shot. I am in agreement on that. Because I think if you get knocked out in a title fight, you have to earn it back. If you lose a decision, like, I know TJ waited 2 years. You should have to wait 2 years. I think maybe one fight, but I think possible. If it's tight, I think it should just go to a rematch. What's the problem with it? But for me, Cody, I think Cody should have another fight or two before he goes back in there. But Rivera's a gnarly fight to have if you're Cody, because, woof, he is one tough son of a bitch. But I don't think Cody's got any easy fights now. I think you've got good title fights for TJ anyway. Rivera, Morales. You've got guys out there you can stick them up against who are awesome candidates for title contenders. So, but what are your thoughts on it yourself?
I want Cody to get the title shot because I'm a big fan of Cody's. But when you sit back and you look at it, TJ's spot on. Honestly, he lost a close decision, had to fight his way back to get a title shot, won his title. There's no way Cody should be granted a rematch after being knocked out. Now, I think in the rematch, Cody will beat him. That could be the fan in me talking, but I think those guys are going to have a trilogy of fights. Jimmy Rivera's a serious guy in that division. I think you should try and put, depending on how long Dominic Cruz is out, you put Jimmy Rivera against Cruz. They were initially supposed to fight.
He's only just healed from his broken arm, I think it is. I think he's only just recently had the cast off, so it might be a bit. I think they might do Morales and Rivera, maybe, but I think that's taken out two contenders. I wouldn't do that myself, but I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to do TJ against DJ. So,
yeah.
And plus TJ's just had a kid like 4 weeks ago, like you said.
Yeah.
He wants to spend time with his newborn baby.
I've not been training properly.
Yeah. So, no, there's not unless the UFC absolutely throws truckloads of money, which they're not going to do. They're not, especially like Cody and TJ.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. Maybe with a Nate Diaz, they might do that to get some name recognition in there. But I think TJ was right, being honest. And that's, like I said, everybody knows I'm a Cody fan, but it's definitely the kind of the morals and the ethics of it all. I think it's the right thing to do. Cody has to work his way back up again.
Absolutely. I think it was a professional attitude as well to it. I know they had a bit of a spout off on Twitter, but right thing to do. That's all the questions I've got. I don't think there was any more. I checked had a quick look on YouTube just then, but there was no other different questions. But we had great feedback on YouTube as well from people. Great conversations as well on social media in general. So thank you for this week. That's all from myself. Will, have you got any comments you'd like to leave?
No, just like we say every week, keep on supporting, keep on subscribing, keep on following. Just get your questions into us, and just keep on interacting with us and sending us in great questions to kind of round off the shows. And we'll be back next week with, what's the card next week?
Fight night card as usual.
It's a Texas card. It's actually a really good card. Solid card. So Cowboy against Medeiros. So looking forward to breaking that down. I think that fight's on a Sunday night as well. Most fights take place on a Sunday. So we'll maybe get the podcast done before the fights actually start next week. So that'll be fresh in your memory. So just keep on supporting, keep on subscribing.
Absolutely. Thank you, folks.